Josh Hokit and Curtis Blades. Wow, what an entertaining fight. I don't think any of us took our eyes off of the screens whenever that fight was happening because there was no lull in the action. But even though that was the case, did you feel as pumped up as you have before whenever a prospect has, beaten the gatekeeper of a division? I don't think you did. And I definitely didn't either. You can't take away from the performance and how fun the fight actually was. It felt kind of empty, didn't it? I'm the MMA Maven, and we're going to be diving into why you might have felt that way. And we're also going to be looking at what you guys are saying about Josh Hokit after his performance. So during this fight, I typically will break down their techniques and really get into a technical breakdown of what happened after the fight. But there wasn't really a whole lot of that this fight because it was just kind of like a turn-based style fight. Like Hokit would throw his combos, and then whenever he was done, then Curtis would return. And that's kind of how the whole entire fight went, which was super entertaining to watch. But there was no like game plan to study of why they did this or that. So it was a fight purely for your entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when I see somebody doing things purely for entertainment, yes, it's fun to watch and I will watch them every time, but it doesn't get me to my max excitement that I could possibly be. Like when you see a prospect coming up, getting people out of there in the first round, like Josh Hokit has, but to also think that, what if they fight the champion? And I don't think anyone thinks that about Hokit right now. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that anyone would think that Hokit would stand a chance against Tom Aspinall. I don't think people would think he stood a chance against Gon. And now that Pereira's in the mix, I don't think anyone thinks he takes out Pereira either. I don't see him even beating Volkov. And that leaves an emptiness after the fight. As entertaining as it was, it's a lot more exciting to see somebody win that you're like, wow, he beat this guy up. How's it going to look whenever he fights a higher competition? He has a chance to beat them. And I don't believe that any of us think that Hokit does have a chance against the top elite of the division. And let's talk about Blades as well, because people will comment and probably say, well, Blades is elite level competition. And I kind of beg to differ on that. It's true that Blades has been at the top of the division for a very long time. But when it's come to fighting opponents that exceed that kind of like, what's the way to put it? Not mid-range top, but like that number 5, number 6, number 7 spot. When it comes to fighters that can exceed that, he's never really exceeded past that. And that might not be exact, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. His best win, I think, would be like a Volkov probably. I'm not counting the Tom Aspinall one. I don't really like to count freak accidents as wins, but if you're going to count that as a win, then I guess that would be his most elite one. But he beat Volkov back in 2020. That was a long time ago now, 6 years ago. Volkov has made a resurgence since then. And I think if we're not talking about that one, Kuniev is his next best win of recent times. He did beat Gelton Almeida, and I think that's more impressive to me than Kuniev. I think some people disagree with that, but that's my take on it. But other than those, the last one that was like Chris Dawkins, like, I don't know. He's gotten the people that don't belong in there, he gets them out of there. Let me tell you that. He'll get them out of there. But when it comes to people that are the elite of the division that belong at the top, he can't seem to get a win over them usually. So what does that mean for Josh Hokit though? Because I thought he doesn't belong up there, right? He's not championship material. I think if he uses the wrestling, he can hang around. He could be the next Curtis Blades. That's actually like the most compliment I can give him right now. He could be a good gatekeeper of that division. But if he fights the rest of the way, like how he fought Curtis Blades, he is not making it. His striking is a volume-based striking. He's very fast for heavyweight, but to try and strike like that against Aspinall or Gon, without mixing in anything, he's gonna get put to sleep. That's just how I see it. And I know the Derek Lewis fight's coming up next, and a lot of people are saying he's gonna get KO'd by him. I think a lot of people, majority of people, are probably saying that. I think Hokit's gonna take it personally. I don't think this is the Derek Lewis of old. I know Derek Lewis lost to Wilder Cortez Acosta recently. The only thing I don't like is Derek Lewis is weird, right? He's one of those fighters that the power is just, if it catches you, it catches you. And I just don't think I see Hokit taking damage, but I don't see him fully getting KO'd. I actually think Hokit's pace will end up putting Derek Lewis in a situation where he could be on the ground and we kind of just see him kind of fade off into losing eventually. So I do think Hokit's going to beat Lewis. I just don't see him beating the top 3, top 4 of the division, and I don't see him beating Pereira. So that's why the win kind of feels like it's super fun to watch him. We'll watch him every time. But when you don't have a prospect that you think can become a champion, it kind of feels more hollow than it would otherwise. Hey, I could get smacked in the face and be wrong, because I'm saying that's what all of us are probably feeling and thinking. But let's actually take a look at what you guys are saying. Okay, not a lot of people talking about his future, but talking about the fight itself, which, I mean, the fight is amazing. Now, this guy says Waldo versus Hokit, banger fight, man. Dude, yeah, why didn't they make that fight? Well, I guess because Trent pointed Lewis on the freaking White House card. I would have loved to have seen Waldo and Hokit go at it. That would have been a really good fight. This guy says, genuinely, Hokit isn't lasting 2 minutes against Tom due to that cardio. And I don't really have a problem with that, you know. I think his cardio is all right. I mean, he's a heavyweight, you know. But the freaking comment below is what bugs me. Tom can't throw hands. What are you talking about? Dude, he has probably the most dangerous boxing in the division right now. What? I mean, besides Cyril Gane that can kind of like jab and keep at range, Cyril Gane's one of them, like 1,000 kicks. Train one kick 1,000 times. Like, his jab's really good. He can time his 2. But I don't know, man. I've seen more boxing combinations come out of Tom than I have Aspinall. So I would argue that, well, now that Pereira's in the mix, then Pereira now has the best boxing in the division. But before that, I would have argued Tom. I would have said this a lot nicer, but I could name a few that could clear you easily. That being said, you're a dog. Just got really weird media antics. I'm not really a huge fan of his antics, you know, which might be hypocritical because I loved Colby Covington's antics, but for some reason the Hokit antics, I don't know, it just don't jive with me as much. I wonder why that is. But this guy put it in a more rude way of what I was saying. Yeah, you know. This guy says that would be Gable Stevenson, referring to all the comments saying that Josh Hokit's the savior of the heavyweight division. Let me say something about that real quick. Gable Stevenson he's very talented, you know, obviously. But we haven't seen him fight any real competition at all. They are feeding him. Like, let's be real about that. They're feeding him guys that are meant to lose. Like, they don't look like they would last against people. The guys that Gable Stevenson has beat don't look like they would last against the people that aren't even ranked in the UFC. Like, I think the people that aren't even ranked in the UFC in the heavyweight division would slaughter them just as easy as Gable Stevenson has his opponents. So I think he's going to do well when he gets in the UFC, but can we like calm down a little bit, because we haven't really seen anything from him. We've seen him just win gimme fights. Anyway, I'm not even going to read this comment. It's too cringe for me. I'm just going to put it up there for y'all to see. Anyway, what are you talking about, dude? Curtis Blades was a good pick. He really was. He was not a bad pick at all. I think the fight was going to be close. I didn't do much research into it. I just kind of was at work and threw it on. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to go into the depths of who I thought was going to win this particular card. But, you know, looking back and now I'm doing my research, I would have thought Curtis Blades would have been a fine pick as well. This wasn't like a, you know, like a big underdog situation or nothing. It was kind of a close, if you ask me. Brother needs to go to light heavyweight. He will stand out so much. Who's going to stop his speed there? Olberg? Yeah. Yeah, Olberg would stop his speed there. What are you on about? Olberg would kill him. I don't even think Hokit would even get close to Olberg. Like, I see some entanglements up against the fence maybe, but to sit there and say that his speed is better than Olberg, like, whatever, dude. I don't know what to tell you, man. We're seeing two different things, and I think the community's seeing two different things as well. Does the GOAT reply? We're looking at comments on his account right now. If he's meaning GOAT, just like kind of tossing it around, then I don't. You know what? I do kind of have a problem with that. I'm kind of sick of people using words that are meant to be used in intense manners. Like, GOAT means greatest of all time, and I get the guy is probably just trying to be nice and casual, but like, dude, it means greatest of all time. Like, I just don't like words that are meant to be used to describe something intense thrown around so casually, because it loses its intensity in that word. So I don't know, nothing really wrong with it, but nitpicking now, I guess. Just saying what I feel about people saying, oh, the GOAT all the time. Please, someone reputable coach this guy. He's a contender with raw skills, the pedigree in wrestling paired with a big punch, with a good coach that will transition into a champion. He's got the intangibles you can't coach, the grit, the athleticism, the toughness, the no quit. He's not too shabby on the mic either, a little refinement there, and he'll be as smooth as silk, diamond in the rough. I agree with that. The problem that with that statement is this is who Hokit is, and you can say that about a lot of fighters, that if they could do this, if they could refine a little bit here, a little bit there, then they could be something great. Hokit is who he is, and we watch his fights for that. You know, he likes to go out there and put on wars and put on entertaining fights. You're not really going to train that out of him. That's just who he is, and what you're saying is not incorrect. It's just if you could take the personality out of him and put, like, you know, just take the personality out and then make him more like of a robot with his skills, then yeah, you would be right. He could be, you know, he could be challenging for the belt. But I mean, he's human, and he's just going to fight how he feels. It's just an expression of who he is. There's a lot of fighters that we could say if they could clean this up, if they can clean that up, then they would be, you know, something great. So yeah, not a bad comment, but you can't change who someone is to make them a better fighter. They're going to do what they're going to do. Hokit destroys Yuri. Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to say he does, but Yuri's IQ, dude, like his inner self of I am honorable after what Alberg did to him. I don't know. Maybe Hokit does have a chance against Yuri, sadly, but before the Alberg fight, I might have said, hell no, no way, dude. But I don't know. He might have a shot against Yuri. Put some respect on Curtis's name. That was not a one-sided fight. Respect to Blades. It wasn't a one-sided fight. Not at all. Curtis did sustain more damage on the face, so it did, you know, if you were to not really watch the fight before, you would think it was one-sided, and that's just how fighting is. Sometimes, like, you may be actually doing more, you know, damage to somebody, but they might clock you, right? And then your nose might be leaking everywhere. That's just how fighting is. But yeah, it wasn't a one-sided fight, not even close. It was back and forth war. Very close fight, actually. All right, we're done with the comments. Tons of people are saying go. Just stop. No. I don't want to come off as I'm hating on this, so let me get into depth of what I'm really trying to say here. This fight was entertaining, and I was entertained, and it was fun, but I'm kind of a technique geek, and I think a lot of people that are, you know, have actually gone in and done a lot of martial arts a lot. We want to see, we like a good wild fight every now and then, but I really love seeing the beauty of a technique, you know, executed well and flawlessly. Someone who's able to get in and get out, to not take as much damage, or to just be so technically prowess that it's beautiful to watch. To me, this was just kind of like a freaking higher level, I don't know, bar fight, I guess, like a high level bar fight. It's just back and forth, not really worrying about what damage they're taking. Skills were plummet. There wasn't a whole bunch of skill involved in this fight. It was just two MMA fighters that are really good that were just swinging it out, and a lot of people love that. You know, most people love that. That's why a lot of people are saying it's one of the greatest fights of all time. Now, I think it was one of the more entertaining ones, but my personal opinion, since I love seeing technique and then just things executed flawlessly along with the IQ of fighters, I wouldn't personally say it's one of the greatest, but I did have fun watching it. So anyway, on that note, I'm the MMA Maven. Please like, subscribe, comment about if you disagree or whatever, man. I don't know. Comment whatever you want to comment. But I am out.